Okay, see if we can do this without dropping the phone. If you know me or know us, you may know this. So this is not what I'm going to call a barn find, but more of a resurrection. It's been many years since this truck has seen sunlight. It's actually probably not going to see it today either. My dad bought this truck brand new when I was 1 year old, I think. It's a 1978 F-150. It came originally with a 351 modified. If you're looking at that tractor tire, it's a John Deere 720 diesel with a pony motor, kind of set up for tractor pulling. It's been sitting here longer than this truck, I think. 351 modified. I don't know how old I was, maybe 13-ish, and the motor was pretty tired, pretty old. It had 40,000 miles on this truck. This is my dad bought this new in 78. Well, actually fall of 77. Bought it new in fall of 77. This was his daily driver until I was in high school. I would say somewhere around 9. Hey, that looks nice, bud. You got that clean good.
Yeah.
Show them.
It wasn't me. It was Grandma.
Grandma cleaned it for you.
I was going to.
Slide it in the center of that tire right there.
Oh, here's a water.
Oh, yeah, just sit in the chair for me. Thank you, bud. Anyway, the motor was tired. This was his daily driver. It was a lot cheaper to build an engine to replace the original engine than it was to buy a new truck. So you got a 460 out of an old Lincoln, 70s, I don't know, Continental, something like that. And to be totally honest with you, that engine is right there. I want to say later 90s. My brother was driving it one day. I think he dropped a valve. Something happened. So we pulled that motor that's sitting here. But that was the original motor. That was the motor, the original built motor, I should say, that we had all the memories with. Lots of horsepower. It was a lot of fun. The heads are right there. This motor, actually, I bought off of a guy who had it in a pulling truck. This was supposed to be a 429. So I really don't know all the internals on this particular engine. It definitely didn't seem like it ran like the other one did. Much better than the original 351, but it didn't, I don't know, it just didn't have the same feel. But my dad drove it around a little bit. You know, he had this truck painted multiple times. Every time it would start to rust a little in the cab corners, he had a guy that he'd take it to and he'd clean it up and cut the rust out and weld new pieces in. The bed everything looks pretty good from here. But the bed is made out of diamond plate on the floor. I mean, the cab's original. The bed sides they may be off another truck at some point. My brother wrecked it one time in the mid-90s, and this front bumper was pushed back through the radiator. It literally smashed everything in between the headlights, but didn't break a headlight. He hit a big tree. Luckily he was okay, and insurance wanted to total it, and my dad absolutely wouldn't let that happen. You know, he had the title, it was his truck, so we took it to a guy, and they had to cut the frame horns off the front of the frame and weld new ones on, and then everything else was just replaced. So we found a radiator core support off of another truck, and a new grill surround and grill and new bumper, and just put it all back together. And it really didn't hurt anything else. Still drove just like it always did, and so it was great that we were able to keep it. But you know, it's been in our family since it was new, and it's been sitting in my dad's barn for, I'd say 5, 6 years, maybe 10 years. Well, Connor's 14, and I remember taking him for a ride in it when he was young, 2, 3 years old. Wyatt, do you ever remember riding in this truck?
Considering the battery is older than me, I don't think this thing has ran since I've been born.
You could be right. This battery was in it. I don't know if it's going to take a charge or not. I've got it on the trickle charger, so we'll see. It was from 2010, and he was born in 2011, so I get it. But anyway, the reason it was parked here, one day he was driving it, just a nice sunny day, and this, I believe it was this front left wheel locked up. So he didn't know if it was a brake caliper or wheel bearing. I think it's a wheel bearing situation, but it's been sitting out here on this gravel floor barn with no heat for quite a few years. And so I honestly think it's all gonna clean up fine. It's just a little crusty. Everything's a little crusty looking. But nothing looks horrible at all. There's those frame horns. You can't even tell where old ones were cut off and new ones were put on. I did notice some little weld spots on the bottom, so you actually could have just straightened them and welded them. I don't know how they did it. I was a young fella back then. But anyway, mostly, I don't know how you call it, mostly original. There's not a lot of originalness. It's all been replaced with original. You know, anything that's been replaced through the years was just made to work. I mean, you know, it was a real truck that was driven every day until it wasn't. And then it's been kept the same way, though. It needs cleaned up. All this is not rust. It's just dirt and mold. There is some rust in it, but not bad. Underneath of there, it's not bad. Anyway. This is our 78 F-150 that some people might call a barn find. It's in a barn. And we've decided to clean it up and see if we can get it running again. We'll see what happens. Here, I'll show you the inside too. See if we can get in here. I will tell you, it's not been opened in a while. It smells. I got in here a little while ago to make sure I had the right key. But there's a crack. See stuff like this, you know, it cracks, so you just put a screw in it. But oh wow, this is cracked over here. I don't remember any of that. This was an XLT Ranger model. It always had the rubber floor, and it's always looked like this. This has been reupholstered probably 3 or 4 times in my lifetime, but it's always been brown and tan like this. And then that's the original headliner that I'm aware of. That's the cardboard. Wow, that's dry. We're gonna have to redo that. There was an original plastic hook up here. I remember my dad used to always hang his Air Force clothes and stuff, and anytime we went anywhere, you'd fold this up, fold the seat forward, and hang your clothes up there. We're gonna have to get a new light and clear the plastic lens cracked all up years and years ago. But yeah, it's got the wood grain on the dash. That was part of the, you know, the Ranger package. If you had a custom, it didn't have the wood grain. It was just all one color. But with the Ranger, you get that. Oh, years ago, we'd upgraded the stereo with the Kenwood. I think it even had, if I remember right, I think it had a controller in the stereo for a 10-disc CD player to go behind the seat. I don't know. I can't remember. We'll have to figure that out. I mean, obviously, first things first, let's get it running and get it going again. but it's mostly stockish, you know, original stuff. I mean, that tack's been on there since, like I said, I think I was about 13 years old when we put this 460 in. And I remember we put that on at the same time. He might have already had that on. A lot of good memories. Well, boys,
That should be our next project right there.
let's see what we can make happen. I think we're gonna have to get this hub off, get the brake caliper off. I really think the problem is the bearing. So we'll see what we're dealing with, and then we'll let you know. What you said that next project's that.
Yeah. 720.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think we just need to clean the fuel bowl out,
I think it
put
really,
some fresh fuel in it, and it'll
needs
fire
air in
up.
that tire.
Well, yeah, obviously that tire's flat over there, but that thing's gonna start. I guarantee it. So it's just the way
That
those
one
old
shouldn't be
tractors
hard.
are. Like I said, it's probably got a little gunk in it. Get the fuel bowl cleaned out and put some fresh in there, and I think she'll run. So honestly, I think this is probably gonna run too. I don't know it'll run well. I think the carburetor's probably gonna have to come off and get cleaned. And when I say a little bit of rust, like, see that right there? There's little bubbles under the paint in not a lot of places, but a few places like that. And that kind of stuff just used to drive my dad crazy, so he would always get it fixed whenever. There's a couple, can you see that in the camera? I can feel it. Oh, there you go. See that? I mean, that's just not, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, we are talking about a 1978 F-150, so that's pretty small potatoes, I think, in the realm of, there's our spare. It came off of my 96 Bronco. We're gonna, see if we can get this rolling, we'll stick that on there just to have something to roll around. My dad always ran BF Goodrich all-terrains. These were like these are the old KOs, and they were practically brand new when he quit driving them. I mean, they still have like the little rubber. Where'd that one go? Did you guys take it back up to the house?
Right here.
Oh.
The
So this
right there.
this one was completely flat, but I mean, it still has like the little things inside the tread blocks, but yet it's probably 20 years old. So, you know.
This one's a little flat.
He always liked these American Racing Outlaw. I think they were Outlaws or Outlaw 2s, I forget. One of them had holes, and then the ones were solid. He liked the solid ones. Again, practicality. He didn't get any brake dust. It was easier to keep clean. So, anyway, we got to get working on it. We'll try to give you, we'll try to see if we can keep updating along the way and make a video out of figuring out what's wrong and getting this thing going. So let's make it happen.